Good morning. I'm here to talk to you about becoming a small group leader. I hope you can all hear me. In the first service, I guess the mic wasn't on. I didn't hear anybody complaining they couldn't hear me, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, when Sally asked me to do this talk about becoming a small group leader, I said, that's a little ironic because my group hadn't officially even met yet, so I'd never actually been a small group leader. But she assured me that that was fine and I could just talk about the steps that I went through to make this commitment to serve God this way. I think most people agree anyway that an expert doesn't actually have to have done something to talk about it. They just have to come in from out of town. I live in Rantoul, let's just go with that. Basically, my job today is as a recruiter, not in the Uncle Sam needs you variety, but in the God needs you kind. Because as it says in Ephesians 2:10, we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God has already prepared for us to do. Becoming a small group leader is a tangible way to serve others and to do good works. However, of course, when I was first approached about becoming a small group leader, I immediately went into that, oh, I don't think I can do that mode. I went through every possible excuse I could think of. I don't know enough about the Bible. I'm not a minister. So many other people know more about the Bible than I do. But the more I prayed about it, the more I realized you don't have to be a Billy Graham. You don't have to be a Beth Moore. You don't even have to be a Rick to be a Bible study leader. God just asks that you have a sincere desire to study His Word and share that adventure with other people. Besides, Rick and Chuck hold leadership training classes with this amazing manual. This is a summary of some of the best tips I've heard in 30 years of teacher training workshops. Could have saved me a lot of time and sometimes some rather boring workshops if I had this book. The authors were much too polite to call it small leadership for dummies, but it is that detailed and it is that easy to follow. There went excuse number one. Excuse number two, I'm not confident enough. I have questions about my own faith. How could I answer other people's questions? What if I didn't know all those answers? Well, that didn't fly either. One of the most important tenets of teaching is that nobody wants a sage up on the stage, but everybody needs a guide by their side. Small groups are all about building relationships, studying God together, and supporting each other along the way in this journey. So much for excuse number two. Excuse number three, and this is the one I found the hardest to overcome. I'm too busy. Not one more thing. Most of our days are filled to capacity, but how many of our days are fulfilled with meaningful activities to serve God? By looking at how I spent my time, I realized I could shuffle that to-do list and put God at the top with small groups. So there I was, out of excuses. And I have a feeling if some of you are looking at the things that kind of hold you back from making this commitment, you'll realize your reasons aren't all that valid either. So I had to look at the reasons to say yes to this commitment to serve God. And these are the challenges I'd like to present to you. Challenge number three. No, I didn't miscount, I'm going backwards. This is the least important. Do it for yourself. How many of you hear that niggling voice in the back of your head asking you to serve God? You heard the whisper from God, but you're afraid to step forward. Listen to that voice. Don't wait for someone in the church to or blast you from the microphone. Don't wait for someone to personally call you and ask you to be a small group leader. God is asking you to do this. Have the courage. Let that voice become a shout to step out of your comfort zone and reap the rewards. Challenge number two, do it for others. During one of the darkest times of my life, I was asked by my dear friend Beth Hutchins to join a small group. I wasn't even a member here yet at First Church, but the support from that group helped me turn back to God and face the challenges of my husband's cancer. The moment I walked into that room with those amazing Christian women, and I see some of your faces now, I felt accepted, comforted, and inspired to grow in my own faith. I just pray that my small group can offer someone else that kind of Christian love and encouragement. And most importantly, challenge number 1, do it for God. This isn't just about First Church. God doesn't care who's in your group. God doesn't care how big your group. He doesn't care how often you meet. He just wants to be there with you as you study his word and learn about his love. For as it tells us in Matthew 18:20, when 2 or more of you are present, in my name I am there. Being in a small group is a way to experience God's presence in a very, very real and special way. Please consider starting a small group, become the leader, and invite God's presence. Thank you.